much. So, dear all the listeners, and as well as the people who can see me, I'm really grateful to Dr. Alam and for this platform provided to me to share the women empowerment and the SDGs perspective from the Pakistan and the Pakistani women with all of you. So it's just a research that I conducted with the women that not the women's point of view that they are standing, but the study was emphasizing on the SDGs, one among the 17 goals, which is the goal 5, that achieving gender equality and empower all women and girls. So one target of this, sorry, Dr. Alam, I wouldn't be able to move the slide. So you just
Can you
look
see
at
the slide as I move them?
Yeah, you can keep on because I'm just looking towards my laptop right now. So
Yes,
I'm just
just tell me when you want to move and I will move it, okay?
Okay, so you can move and you can go to the next.
Yeah, introduction is in front of you. You go ahead.
No, you just move that.
Okay.
To the background, yes. So this is one among the 17 goals of the SDGs, so which is the goal 5, and the one target of this goal 5 is that it is which is going to ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision making in political, economic, and public life. So I just tried to explore these aspects of the SDG goal 5 along with the globalization influence in Pakistan, because globalization is impacting the women in Pakistan in all these three domains of the political sphere, in the economic sphere, and in the socio-cultural sphere. So I tried to link that world openness linking with the SDGs goals and just try to explore that how this openness towards the world and how this globalization is impacting the women in all these spheres of their life. So globalization, actually it's a very diverse phenomena, and if we are looking towards the women empowerment equally, the both, so we just try to explore that whether, because globalization and this world openness is not influencing the world equally, not influencing all the regions actually equally. So at some places of the world, they are having the very pragmatic influences, very positive influences. At some areas, having the very negative, adverse consequences, and in some areas, they are not having yet as such influence. So if you just move on, if you look at to the introduction, so if we look at to the developing countries like Pakistan, so still the countries like Pakistan not able to get all the positive and all the beneficial influences of this world openness, of this world connectedness that we are, and across the globe, that through the SDGs we are trying to be connected with the world. So if we just look at and understanding, the next slide, please, understanding the linkages between the globalization and empowerment. So we just try to explore with all these three domains. I'm just skipping the significance. It is very much important, no doubt. But if I will just go to the statement of the problem, Professor. So it is just emphasizing that how we can ensure the women full participation and effective participation in all the domains of the politics and all the domains of the economics and the public sphere. So this study has focused on the analysis of all these various dimensions of the globalization and linking that with the women empowerment and with the women's situation in the Pakistan. So that was the objectives as well. And if I just go to the summary of the methodology, Professor, the summary of the methodology. So that was the qualitative research. The next slide, please. The summary of the methodology. If you just move on few of the slides, because I made it the very comprehensive detailed presentation, so would be available to all the all the audience who have any interest. So I will just summarize over here, and if you just look at that, so I just tried to cover up all the areas of the Pakistan. So Pakistan is comprising of all its 4 provinces along with the AJK and the Gilgit-Baltistan. So we tried to get the point of view of those people that who are those specific stakeholders who have might be they are the politicians or the academicians or the journalists, because they are going to make the point of view. They are the people who are giving you the policies. They are let's suppose, like if I take the example of the academia, so they are making the minds of the youth in the Pakistan. So I thought that they are the most important stakeholders, because if I look at to the politicians, they have influence in the decision making, in the policy making. The journalists, they are giving the vision of the world to the people in the Pakistan. And academia, they are directly linked and they are disseminating those ideas and concepts. So keeping all these three important stakeholders, I wanted to know that how they are perceiving these SDGs, how they are looking towards the women's status in Pakistan, and how they are thinking that they can put a dent and bring some sort of empowerment for the women in the country. So these were 26 respondents from all these three areas, like of the academia and the politicians and the journalists. So I just conducted the in-depth interviews with them, and by applying the thematic analysis, I come up with few of the major themes. So if you just look at to the major themes, sir, so here there are 4 major themes. The next, please. Does higher education and employment opportunities empowering Pakistani women? If you look at to the global political scenario, so Pakistani government and the global political scenario, so is there any space for the women to come into the politics in Pakistan? And if we look at to the cultural globalization, that how through technologies and how through media it is influencing across the globe. So does it has any impact on the women's social empowerment, on the women standing at the socio-cultural domain? So these were the 4 major areas that I tried to emphasize, because when we are talking about the higher level of education and the employment opportunities, so they can at least empower the women at the individual level, at the family level, and if you are earning person, so it can give you the financial and the economic empowerment as well. And the same it was the case for the political and the cultural domains. I will skip the reflexivity of mine, because I'm belonging from such an area in the Pakistan that not very much developed. But if a woman like me who got the education, who come into the job, and who are earning to some extent a handsome amounts, so I'm feeling myself somewhere like, okay, fine, I'm empowered, but empowerment is such a complex phenomena that if I'm earning, but if I'm not able to spend that money by my own, if I'm not able to take a decision that whether if I want to buy some property, or if I want to buy a car, and if I want to buy invest that income that I'm earning, so whether you call me the empowered one or not. So just by simply getting the education or the getting the employment opportunity doesn't it is not going to ensure that, okay, fine, a woman in a country like Pakistan is empowered or not. However, it has different stages. However, it has different like steps. Might be to get a higher level of education and the employment opportunity, it is the base. It is going to provide a base for the empowerment. It is providing the base for a better status a woman can acquire. But if it even I can give you the example at the political domain. So mostly women are coming through quota system. So they are already the women of the influential families. And if they get chance to come into the politics, so they are just like, a cosmetic appearance might be they are having, but they are not taken to be considered into the decision making process, even at the policy level, when we are talking about the policies. parliament and making about the government level. But no doubt, this connection with the world, this openness with the world has changed the scenario for the women in Pakistan. We can't say like 10 years back, the 15 years back, what was the situation in Pakistan is same right now. No, this world openness is putting a dent. So that was the objective of this research, that I wanted to know that till which level the change have been experiencing, and by all these policymakers, decision makers, and where they are thinking, because it is very much important. If being a woman, what I'm thinking is something else, but the people who are sitting over there at the decision making levels, so how they are perceiving, whether they are they would love to bring any sort of change for the women in the country or not. So if I just look at the synthesis of the major findings, um, sir, can you go to the second objective of mine? The next, please. Move on. Move on, please. Yes. So if you just look into this, that I wanted to know that how, if the world is giving you the opportunities, if the world is there for you, so whether you are in the position to get that influence, that benefit from the openness or not. So if the two type of responses I got from the pragmatic point of view, no doubt this world openness has brought about changes in the lives of Pakistani women in many ways, such as like their role in decision making has been improved, control on and increase in the financial resources have been experienced, can be observable. Social protection of the women, particularly, there are so many new laws has been introduced in the Pakistan specifically for violence against women, and the workplace protection have been provided to them. So access to the women and other resources like of the healthcare has been improved, because we are living in a country where a woman is not considered to go even to the doctor if there is no male member along with her. So sort of situation has been improved, but let me make it clear here that all these improvements can be observable, can be visible in the urban areas, not in the rural areas. And still, for the women, there is a long way to go. So their visibility in the parliament, you might be observed even from the last election that we contested in the 2018. So it was ensured that if in any constituency if there would not be a specific number of women contestant, so the election couldn't be contested in that specific constituencies. So that was the reason that we can see a reasonable number of women in the parliament, in the paid job sectors, in the higher education in the recent past. But this is the one aspect that my respondents shared with me, that okay, fine, and we call it the pragmatic view, but findings regarding the ineffective consequences of globalization for women reveals that globalization is a double-edged sword for women, isn't it? Because of the male migration flow towards the urban areas put the women under triple burden of homemaking, farming, and jobs in the rural sector. Also, the situation is not that much pragmatic and positive for the working class women who move to the cities for work, often face exploitation, because empowerment is not equal and same for all cadre classes, for all classes women in Pakistan, so if the women of the elite class having the empowerment level different, the women of the working class having their own situation and circumstances, and the women of the lower class having the different situation, so we can say that your class, your social class, your regional division like of the rural urban, and as well as the social setup and structure of the Pakistan, which is mostly influenced by the feudal system, by the tribal system. So these are all the things that we should consider whenever we are talking about the women empowerment, whenever we are talking about the women's status in Pakistani context. So until or unless if we will not be looking towards all these background indicators, we would never be understand and we would never be able to achieve those SDGs targets, those SDGs goals, if we not link them with the institutional, with the cultural setup in the Pakistani context. So similarly, the rural urban migration is weakening the traditional ties of the different institutions, specifically of the family unit. So, no doubt, openness to the world and coming into the higher education, coming into the job is one good aspect for the women. But at the other end, our family institution is becoming like breaking up. The divorce rate is increasing day by day, and as well as the media representation, the cliche women representation by the media is also derailing women image so falsely in the present area. So on the very adverse side, we can say that competitive work environment, male political domination, and social divergence have harmful consequences for women in the Pakistan. So we can conclude, if we just look at that, how this world openness and the women empowerment can be related. So we can say that the financial contribution from women towards their family is putting a dent on our orthodox social system. So our politics and the government, which previously had a rigid and controversial presentation, now has a soft image because of the women involvement in this domain to the world. Because previously, if you just look at that, women were not visible in the political domain, but now they are having, just because of this connectedness with the world, that they are emphasizing that there should be women, because half of the Pakistan population is based on the women. So if you will just exclude them from all these important domains of the politics and of the economy, so how can you ensure the sustainable development of the nation? How could you ensure the any implementation of the sustainable development goals in a country like Pakistan? So access to information and awareness has put its impact on the women's life here in Pakistan, that slowly, gradually, the gender roles have been changing. So another important, if you just move to the next slide, another important objective of this research was that what are those specific hurdles that the women are facing and how can we overcome that? So among them, we come up with this thing that the patriarchal mindset is the root cause. If you are talking about the SDGs, if you are talking about to bring any change in the women's status, if you are talking about the gender equality, if you are talking about the women empowerment, for all these things, to put a dent on the patriarchal mindset is very, very important. Because the material change is easy, but the idealistic and the mental change and the change in the norms and the values is such a challenging thing. So it is very much important, and it is the major root cause that why we are not able to get full benefit of this world openness, of this globalization. So discriminatory values attached with the gender, with the age, with the caste, and with the ethnicity, causing a hurdle for the to bring any change in the women's life. Political domain is a big debate with reference to the women. Nationalistic economy. So measures need to be taken at the individual level, at the family level, at the social level to empower Pakistani women. So changes in the, if we are talking about at the family and the individual level, so changes in the socialization patterns is very much needed, unless or until, if, because the change starts from the home, it begins from the family. So unless or until if we will be coming up with this divide of the boy and the girl, we can't expect any sort of we can never talk of the gender equality. So socialization patterns need to be focused, self recognition by the women. Because if you look into the Pakistan, so even I find that during this conversation with all these stakeholders, that even the women are not ready to bring any change in their lives. They still love to be dependent on the men, and they are not ready to take a step, to take a initiative that okay fine, we need to change. So that is another reason. So, and it is equally the suggestion that self recognition is important. So we need to engage our men as well to provide them the better education, provide them with the better health care system, and ensuring equality for them in all spheres of life will go a long way to transform the Pakistani society at the global scenario. So enhance women voice at the government level. They should come via election rather than the quota system, because if they will come through proper election, so they will be more confident and they can raise their voices and they can make some sort of policies for the women. But if they will be keep on coming via quota system, and if they will be keep on coming only from the elite class, so might be they will be set aside, and still the politics, the government will be dominated by the men. So they need to be skilled as per today's requirements so they can effectively play their role in the country's development. So when I'm talking about that they need to be skilled as per today's requirement, means that where the world is going, so we need to be educate our women according to those requirements. So if they will be skilled, educated women, so they will be more in a better position to play their role in the active economy. They will be more in a better position to play their role in the politics, and they will be in a better position to play their role in the family's decisions as well. So these were few of the major findings. At the end, I will just there are so many different contributions of this study to the knowledge, to the methodologies and all these things. I'm just skipping that, but the study concludes. So if you can just go to the study conclusion. So this the next please. So this study concludes in the light of the findings that it has been concluded that globalization is a social change process that has spread almost all the aspects of the society due to its variant components of the political, economic, and socio-cultural. So the current study findings are in line with the theoretical assumptions of the globalization variant perspectives with reference to the positive, negative, and feeble influences on societies like Pakistan. So, in the Pakistan, no doubt it is putting its dents, but still the pace is quite slow. To bring it more effective, so there are certain recommendations. The next slide, please. So, just on the basis of that, the next slide, please. There are certain recommendations that women can join any field, and they are rising now in every field of life in Pakistan, and their contributions will be if they remain intact to their own roots, and just not merely if they will be following the modernization, because the women suffered a lot, as I shared that the because of the higher education and coming into the economic domain and becoming financially independent, the divorce rate became very high in Pakistan, and the people are linking that high divorce rate and breaking up of the families with the women's higher education and their economic independence. So it is just recommended that if they will be remain attached to their roots, if they will remain be attached with their family system, and they are getting education and they are contributing in the economy, so might be the situation will be changed, because we need the women role models from our own society. At times the westernization, the modernization model is becoming ineffective when it comes to the culture, when it comes to the your own religion, when it comes to your own norms and values. So it is very much important that you take the positive things from the west, that you take the good things from them, but just be in your own context. So when you just put your context aside and you are just merely following all these streams, so it will create hurdles for the other women. So it is very much important that we should have role models from our own society to present to the masses that look at, if you just send your daughters to the schools, if you will allow your sisters and daughters to the jobs, it is not something bad. It will be not ruining your family structure, it will be not challenging your culture. So empowered women role models are needed. So there is still lacking conscious efforts for women empowerment, though at the legislation level, and we should emphasize on that. So at the higher education level, there must be such sort of internship opportunities or the practical skill based education for the young women, so they can get equal chance along with the males, so they can more effectively contribute in the country's economy, in the country's sustainable development. So these are the few of the recommendations, and that's it, because I already just get connect with you too late, and I'm again so sorry for that. So that's why I just squeezed my interaction, because just lack of the time. So if there is any question or anything, I'm just here, I can answer.